So, okay, wait a minute. I gotta get rid of one of them before somebody goes, "It's not that day!" Because I forgot to change my memes. I know I was forgetting something, but something always happens, right? There's always a blooper because it's live. Morning. No, I haven't set up a trout command. Let's see who I'm saying good morning to today. Laura Bones was the first one in my live chat, followed by a Mariel Bell, Doubting Tommy, a Tranime Girl. Let me see. Further scrolling down, we have Le Nuggets. Good morning. Let me see here. Who else? And we have a Mitch. I saw the Mitch. Numbskull. Morning, Numbskull. How are you doing? And I think that's it. I don't think we have any new people popping in here. Oh, there's Ericor. Hello, Dragon. How are you? Alright, now, for my people in the UK, good afternoon. Good morning, Neil. Good afternoon, Mr. Scarecrow. Thank you for making it to the show. And morning, Jason. How are you guys? Today is December 7th. Do we know what December 7th is? Come on. December 7th is Pearl Harbor Day. And I got this. I'm following the Department of Defense, the Secretary, the Secretary of State, and other departmental offices of our great and illustrious government. Morning, Pagan Butterfly Kitten. And this is a recollection from that particular day. So I'm going to read this to you now. There was one man who asked for help. I reached and got his hand. I pulled him up, thinking I would take him on the island. And when I got him out of the water, I looked, and nothing beneath his belly button was there. Everything was gone. I held him there for about 2 minutes until he passed away, and then I let him slide back into the water. Melvin Heckman, Navy veteran and Pearl Harbor survivor. So, there is a recollection and a first-hand witness to what was going on because he was actually there in Pearl Harbor. It is somber, but it does hit home what happened. War is not something to be glorified. It's not something to be held up on a pedestal. It's not something to be revered. War is messy. War is, it devastates many. It separates families. But World War II seems to be one of the more bloody ones and one of the ones in recent memory that a lot of people that have survived have memories that we like to share. And the main reason I like to share these kind of memories is there's not enough respect for the elders that are still around from that era, from that time. To me, they were the best generation. They were the generation that should be the most respected. And they are the generation that everyone of every age should sit down, listen to, and ask questions about, what happened back then, what life was like back then. Because when the last of that generation dies, that verbal history won't be passed down if nobody sits to listen. And that's just my, 2 cents on the matter. My dad is a World War II historian, so you can imagine how many magazines from that era were in the house, how many World War II documentaries I had to watch, and how many World War II movies I actually had to watch. And that was a long, long list, because every time one came on the television, whether it was a documentary or a movie, I had to sit. My dad ordered VHS series for World War II documentaries and stuff that he wanted me to, watch, sit down, and listen to. Get them into a live stream. Yeah, that would be a good idea. The thing is, I would have to sit and explain to them how the technology worked and see if I can actually question them. I don't know anybody from that era. That I could talk to. That's the problem. Most of the people I know were born after there. Sergeant Joe, the 133-year-old vet live. Yep. A social wreck. Good morning. He's actually hyper today, so we might actually have some side entertainment over there on the Zeus cam this morning. Thank God, because normally he's a bump on a log. Oh my goodness. Just tell them it's like a recorded interview. Yeah, it's a good idea. Let's get on to the crux of the matter, shall we? here's where we start. Morning reality check. And for those of you that are wondering, that wonderful news transition came from Ericor, who is in the live chat this morning. He can do animated segues and things of that nature. Just ask him for rates and, throw a little bit of work his way. We all need to support each other in one way or the other. So, our first story of the day is Middle East, Israel, and Trump's decision. So, let me see here. After asking the State Department to start putting into motion the move of the embassy to Jerusalem from Tel Aviv on Wednesday, whoops. God, I hate it when it does that. The decision itself has garnered mixed responses and feelings from the surrounding countries. You can tell I write this before I've had enough caffeine. One such reaction was sending out warnings of possible violence issued from the Israeli government. As of yet, there have been no serious incidents of violence. Yay. Yep, I really gotta proofread this shit before I put it on the show. But Friday is a Muslim holy day and will be a litmus test for when the Palestinians gather for their mass prayers. Morning, fuckwad. Let me see. Ismail Haniyeh, I know I butchered that. A Hamas leader has put a call out to Palestinians to launch an uprising on the holy day, stating, quote, "The American decision is an aggression." No, I'm not making it up as I go along. I just have to proofread what I wrote because I didn't do it before the show. Maybe I have to start getting up at 6 so I can proofread. Quote, "The American decision is an aggression on our people and a war on our sanctuaries," unquote. He also told his supporters, quote, "to be ready for any orders, and we want the uprising to last and continue to let Trump and the occupation regret this decision," unquote. This is the same Hamas group that killed, and I'm losing my place, that killed hundreds of Israelis using suicide bombings and other tactics in the early 2000s. Their stronghold is located in Gaza, and it has been confirmed to have a large arsenal of rockets capable of attacking Israel. Overnight protests in Gaza included angry youths burning American and Israeli flags, tires, and Trump posters. The Israeli military is planning to station several battalions on the West Bank in anticipation of, quote, "possible developments," unquote. In lieu of this move, the United States has asked Israel to temper its response to the U.S.'s recognition of it as a capital. As its capital. This is due to the expectations of backlash and potential threats to the facilities and people the United States has there. Reuters was privy to a document by the State Department. The document states, quote, "While I recognize that you will publicly welcome this news, I ask that you refrain from your official response. We may expect there to be resistance to this news in the Middle East and around the world. We are still judging the impact this decision will have on U.S. facilities and personnel overseas." Let me see here. As would be the case, Arabs and Muslims all through the Middle East are saying it is an incendiary move on the U.S.'s part to move Israel's capital. Yep, see? Edit. Israel's capital to Jerusalem, making assertions that this shows a possible abandonment of the U.S. to be a leading role as a peace mediator in the region. Oh, morning, Shadow Cat. How are you doing? I have a Shadow Cat in the chat. Pull up a chair and grab some coffee. The EU and UN also condemned the decision, saying there will be an impact on any hope of Israel-Palestine peacemaking. France flat out rejected a decision. And made an appeal for the region to stay calm. Britain joined the EU and UN in saying this will not help peace efforts, and Germany says that only a two-state solution will resolve Jerusalem's status. Prime Minister Netanyahu stated in a previously recorded message this was, quote, "an important step toward peace," unquote, and it was also, quote, "our goal from Israel's first day," unquote. He urged other countries to take Trump's example. Morning, the Batman. How are you doing? And as a little added bonus to this story, I'm crossing my fingers and hoping this thing is going to play, because I've been having technical issues this morning.
The recognition by Donald Trump of Jerusalem as the capital of Israel will do grave damage to the prospects for a just and lasting peace settlement between the Israelis and the Palestinians, which has been British and indeed American foreign policy for decades. Was she consulted about this announcement, and if so, what did she say? And will she here and now unequivocally and clearly condemn it?
Well, I say to the right honourable gentleman that I'm intending to speak to President Trump about this matter, but our position has not changed. Our position, as he says, has been a long-standing one, and it's also a very clear one, that the status of Jerusalem should be determined in a negotiated settlement between the Israelis and the Palestinians, and Jerusalem should ultimately form a shared capital between the Israeli and Palestinian states. That is, we continue to support a two-state solution. We recognise the importance of Jerusalem, and our position on that has not changed.
It's a good thing that President Trump is supporting Israel in their claim that Jerusalem is their capital. It's affirming their alliance and proving that he's willing to help Israel.
We certainly want to thank President Trump for this bold and natural move, if you think about it. Jerusalem has been the Jewish capital for 3,020 years straight, and it's only natural that the world will follow. I would call on other countries to follow President Trump's steps.
Jerusalem is a symbol for us. It's a symbol for the nation, our nation, for thousands of years. So we don't really need this recognition in order to be here. Yet, I think that it would be much more better if, together with this declaration that I'm very in favor of, there will be some more steps that will assist us to build some confidence with the Palestinians in order to restart the peace process.
And those are some world reactions and things that other people in other countries had to say, as well as a beginning to May's reaction to being, asked about what her thoughts on this particular matter are. So, it doesn't, it's not like it wasn't going to, Morning, Director Arcater. How are you doing? And welcome to my live chat. We have a roaming savage. Welcome to my live chat. Pull up a chair and grab yourself your favorite brew. We are in the middle of the news. Morning, Ghost Dog. So we have some new people in the live chat this morning. So how are you? There's still a lot of work to be done between Israel and Palestine and achieving a lasting peace, because several ceasefires have been issued in between the two and have been negotiated in between the two, but it's always, or more often than not, so as not to do a broad generalization, morning bubonic for you, the person more often than not that has broken this ceasefire has been Palestine, always setting Israel on the defensive, but Israel is always the one catching the heat for doing retaliatory strikes in defense of being attacked. They seem to be the eternal bad guys in that area. Morning, Jason Todd. And Tailed Feature, how are you doing? It's this afternoon where you are at, as well as Jason. Good afternoon to my friends across the pond. So I'm going to be keeping a close eye on this to see what happens, because as always there are people that are in favor of this and people that are saying that this is a bad idea on Trump's part. Now, it's not Trump's idea. Think about it for a minute. The first time that this was proposed was back in 95 or before 95, and they've just been putting it off by, signing 6 months waivers. The only thing Trump wants to do is quit signing the waivers, go ahead and proclaim Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, and move the U.S. Embassy over into Jerusalem. The problem with this is that Jerusalem has been in contention for decades between the the Palestinians and the Israelis. So a lot of negotiation, in my opinion, needs to happen before anything else, any more moves are made in that area. I'm going to look up the two-state solution, and I am going to do some research on it. And I'm going to see if I can squeak out a pre-recorded video over the weekend to see if I can explain what the two-state solution is, because there are people that are in favor, like Germany and others, about this two-state solution. And I want to learn more about this, and as I learn more about this, I want to pass that information on to you. So, the next story in the news this morning: Australia makes same-sex marriage illegal. Australia's parliament voted to legalize same-sex marriage on Thursday. This is after years of resistance. This story was brought to me by Doubting Tommy. The House of Representatives had the last approval with only 4 votes against the bill. Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull was quoted as saying, "This is Australia, fair, diverse, loving, and filled with respect. For every one of us, this is a great day." The newly enacted law extends legislation that already exists, which provided equal rights to same-sex couples in the area of government benefits, employment, taxes, and changes the definition of marriage to the union of two people. The new law also recognizes these same marriages from other countries. So, and don't mention the war. This is DACA waivers all over again. We shouldn't be running policy based off of waivers. That's why Congress passed laws. Exactly. The thing is, with every law that needs to be passed, there's always going to be people that are trying to put it off. During the 8 years that Obama was in office, they kept putting waivers and extensions on actually having to sit down and make a budget and run by that budget. So it's pretty simple and pretty easy, and I'm comfortable in saying that in the 8 years that Obama was in office, there really wasn't a budget to work from because they kept putting it off. And a government needs a budget to run on. The problem is they like spending money. And they like spending money they don't have, which is why we're in the problem, why we are where we are with our deficit and the fact that we owe trillions now, because we are in the negative for trillions of dollars, which is more money than most of us could possibly imagine or conceive. Morning, Malachite. How are you doing this morning? Something needs to be done. This balance, the balance needs to be brought down. Chatelet, my brothers and sisters. Chatelet. All right, next story. Putin says no to boycotting the Olympics. You would think that what's been happening lately, Putin has decided that he wants to actually ban, or boycott the Olympics. Such is not the case. Russia will not keep its athletes from competing in the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics in 2018. President Putin says they can compete if they so wish to, tamping down calls for a boycott of the games. This comes after the IOC banned the Russian team from the Olympics after evidence was found of manipulating the anti-doping system. Russians may still compete in the events, but they will do so under the Olympic flag, and their country will not be credited with any medals if the athletes win any. Putin was quoted as saying, quote, "Without any doubt, we will not declare a blockade. We will not prevent our Olympians from taking part in the games. If one of them wants to participate in a personal capacity." So, Putin turns his sights to Grigory Rodchenkov, former head of Moscow's anti-doping laboratory. Though he did not name Grigory explicitly, President Putin said the decision of the IOC was based on, let me get that out of there, quote, mainly based on cute. See, this is what happens when I write this stuff without enough coffee. Was mainly based on the testimonies of a person whose moral and ethical attitudes and psychological state raise many questions. So, there's where we have it. He is not going to boycott the Olympics. He doesn't see any sense in boycotting the Olympics. He is going to let the athletes compete. Now, if they decide to compete, they are going to be competing as an athlete from the country of blah, 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 blah. In other words, if they are an athlete from the country of Russia. If they do win medals, they will be doing so under the Olympic Committee banner, and they will be listening to the anthem of the Olympic Committee if they happen to win medals. These medals will not be credited to the country of Russia. Power of invisibility. No, he just jumped off the bed and now he's wandering around the room. You know, you're supposed to be on the bed, boo. Yeah, huh? I know. I don't have anything to eat. I don't know why you're trying to beg off of me. So, at least he seems to be acknowledging the fact that there was some tampering. A lot of times people are saying, a lot of times people in these positions from these countries are going, we didn't do anything. And as a matter of fact, if I recollect correctly, when these allegations first came out, Russia said, no, we're not doing any of that. That wasn't us. You know, we're not taking part of any doping and nothing like that. So, there is that. You know, that was their first stance. But now that there is concrete evidence, Putin's saying, okay, all right, yep, I'm going, you know, I'm not going to keep people from competing. Yeah, I know. So, I like the fact that he's not boycotting. I like the fact that he is calling his people not to boycott. Because it shows that he is willing to open himself up and his country up for criticism to an extent. I'd like to see what that extent is, but that is for another day and another matter, I would assume. So. Alright.
Your mother was a hamster and your father smelt of elderberries.
It is that time. It is that time. So we're going to get to those. First one on the recommended list is Anahata Hearts. The title of her video is Toxic Parent. She does reminisce what it was like growing up in her family. Go away before I taunt you a second time. It is a very interesting look into someone else's life regarding, you know, abusive relationships and being in an abusive and dysfunctional family. So please check that video out. Next one is a polite message to Kristi Winters regarding bearing from our own lovable Schmeckle. Ghost Dog. I watched a documentary movie on this guy. I ran because he thought Putin would kill him. Wow. It's funny because Schmeckle does it in his own classic way. Okay, he's trying to be polite, and he expresses the fact that he's trying to be polite. Morning Rhetorical, and you can sense the sarcasm in there while he's trying to be nice during this video. But it is a really good video, and it's a really funny video, especially at the end. And I'm not going to spoil that for you. You're gonna have to watch the video to see what happens at the end. Next one is our own tailed feature with a parody of a Cheap Trick song, The Meme Police. I watched this morning. It's a really cool parody. I wanted to listen to it again, but holy crap, I had news to research and I had all this stuff to do. But his parodies, I swear to God, you have got to check his parodies out. His parodies are the best. So go check him out. Undoomed. Hello, Smugness, my old friend. He's doing another response video to somebody who waits a while in their own video to define quote-unquote whiteness. It's very interesting. I love how he responds to this. And yes, he does his usual catchphrase, moron effing moron. So, please check out Undoomed. Alright? So, those are the recommended views of the day. Alright, here we go. And you know what that means?
I'm telling you guys, it's wrong. It's wrong! It's wrong!
Okay, what is Cartman so angry about? We're about to find out, guys, because it is time for Cancer. And what better a site to go to read some Cancer than Slate, right? Hold on to your hats. Yep, the purple Teletubby was gay. Here we go. Screen Time is Slate's pop-up blog about children's TV everywhere kids see it. Jerry Falwell made his living finding gay people where they didn't belong. Quote, remember, homosexuals do not reproduce, unquote, the televangelist and activist warned his followers in 1981. They recruit! He claimed to have confronted President Carter about why he employed practicing homosexuals in the White House in 1980. Oh, I know it's old news, but I love it. When Ellen DeGeneres' sitcom character came out of the closet in 1997, he called her Ellen DeGenerate. Bum, bum, bum. So when Falwell claimed in 1999 to have discovered that one of the Teletubbies was gay, it seemed like yet another example of his proprietary blend of viciousness and absurdity. Teletubbies, a British import for preschoolers that aired on PBS between 1998 and 2008, was so harmless it was almost a parody of children's television. It featured 4 rotund creatures who lived in a stylized English countryside where they spent their time eating toast and custard, rolling around in meadows, and babbling in high-pitched baby talk. To modern sensibilities, the most offensive thing about them is that they all had television screens embedded in their bellies. But Falwell saw something off about Tinky Winky, the largest pal in Teletubby land. He is purple, the gay pride color, and his antenna is shaped like a triangle, the gay pride symbol. Dun dun dun, Falwell wrote in an issue of his own magazine. The character had a boy's voice, he continued, but often carried a red purse, ahem. The article was titled, Parents Alert! Tinky Winky comes out of the closet! Falwell doubled down in an appearance on the Today Show to have, quote, little boys running around with purses and acting effeminate and leaving the idea that the masculine male and feminine female is out and gay is okay is something Christians do not agree with, he told Katie Couric. Yeah, I'm putting some dramatic flair in here. The accusation blew up immediately, a perfect artifact of neo-Puritan insanity, landing just as President Clinton was being acquitted of impeachment charges by the Senate. If you thought the sex police were at their most vindictive in the Clinton-Lewinsky affair, you haven't heard about the Reverend Jerry Falwell's attack on Tinky Winky. When typical editorial began, the show's distributor, Itsy Bitsy Entertainment, held an emergency press conference in New York to declare the Teletubbies' rolling hills were a G-rated safe space. It is the sweetest and most innocent place a child can go, a spokesman told the assembled reporters. There's simply nothing sexual in our show. The Teletubbies didn't even have genitals. How could they be gay? Falwell's many critics took turns being appalled and amused. One newspaper columnist joked that Elmer Fudd would be next, aging queen, Second Life exposed on Saturday Night Live. Falwell, Daryl Hammond, held up a Tinky Winky doll and said things like, do you like watching figure skating on TV? And I do want to be a Donna Summer. When Falwell died in 2007, Tinky Winky was mentioned in almost all of his obituaries. The incident is now remembered as a kind of dumb climax to the 90s culture wars. In the reductio absurdum ad absurdum, Marty would kick my ass. Let me redo that. The reductio ad absurdum of religious right paranoia and the epitome of pre-9/11 unseriousness. But here's the awkward thing about Falwell's take on Tinky Winky. He wasn't totally wrong. In the years preceding his supposed expose, many publications had written about the gays' community adoption of Tinky Winky as one of their own. When the show debuted in England in 1997, its hypnotic, winking weirdness had almost immediately become popular with club kids and the gay community. Tinky Winky is the first queer role model for toddlers, a British media studies lecturer wrote that summer. The Independent referred to his camp handbag-carrying antics, and The Guardian called him a gay icon who prances around. When the show was exported to the United States, Tinky Winky's reputation came with it. Prominent gay gossip columnist Michael Musto told Entertainment Weekly that the character offered a great message. Not only is it okay to be gay, but the importance of being well accessorized. The Advocate, which referred to him approvingly as Big Fabulous Fag, read a similar lesson in his gender bending, that it's okay to take an interest in the accoutrements of the opposite gender. All of this was before Falwell published his supposedly absurd alert. Ghost dog. This is what I said then is now. It's fiction. Get over it. Oh, let's see. And Foghorn Leghorn loves to spank the male dogs with his BDSM paddle and nuggets. Let me see. Aracor, it only works when you are holding an officially endorsed Harry Potter brand wand. Oh my gosh. So, do you guys want me to continue with my dramatic reading of this particular piece of cancer? Or shall we just go ahead and take a break from it because it keeps going? I don't know how long this is actually. Yeah, it's only got a couple more paragraphs to go. So you guys want me to keep going with this and finish my dramatic reading of the article? Or do we want to take a break from the cancer? Director Arketer. Let's see here. Don't hate Teletubbies for being gay. Hate them for being terrifying and abominations that should be shot on sight before they get tubby custard on everything. Keep reading. Okay, I will keep reading then. At the time, many enlightened mainstream critics took the attitude that Falwell and the gay press were equally perverse for foisting sexual preferences on bunch of proverbial stuffed animals. To think we would be putting sexual innuendo in a children's show is kind of outlandish, a spokesman for the show's American licensor told the BBC back then. 18 years later, I don't think it's outlandish at all. For one thing, to call Tinky Winky gay doesn't mean that Tinky Winky has sex, and the mere presence of queer characters is not in itself sexual innuendo. It is now much more widely understood than it was in the 90s that sexuality and gender expression emerged long before sexual maturity. And we now live in a time in which the idea that the masculine male is out, as Falwell put it, seems more appealing than ever, if not yet true. Falwell was wrong about Tinky Winky's supposed harm to children, but he wasn't wrong that children's television and culture in general was becoming much more comfortable with queerness. As Jacob Weisberg pointed out in Slate, in response to the Falwell kerfuffle, many children's characters look subtly queer in ways straight audiences would not have picked up on. Batman and Robin, Peppermint Patty and Marcy, Bert and Ernie, Timon and Pumbaa, Frog and Toad. It isn't absurd for anyone, including Falwell, to notice these hints and inferences and references. Weisberg wrote, in the years since then, subtext has become text, and children's television producers have gone from winking at their characters' private lives to creating openly gay adult and kid characters. Today, the backlash that is taken seriously by most culture producers comes not from dinosaurs like Falwell, but from the LGBTQ community demanding their richer reputation. Tinky Winky would be right at home. Yeah, I figured they would mention Batman and Robin. Nobody, and I mean nobody, can resist the whole Batman and Robin dynamic. And that is the end of the article. So I hope you guys enjoy that particular dramatic reading. I have to read it dramatically because some of these cancer things are just... You just can't take them seriously. Nuggets. Batman is gay with a twink partner? Uh-oh. Is the Batman here to defend himself? Surprised they didn't mention Kirk and Spock. Right? Right? Turn the frickin' frogs gay. Whenever I find a cancer article like that, which is usually from Slate, The Guardian, or Everyday Feminism, I can't read it seriously. I really can't. So I gotta do some sort of dramatic reading, some silly accent, something, to make it at least tolerable while I'm reading through the thing, because you never can tell, boy. I'm telling you, it's hard. It is just really freaking hard to go through this thing. And, you know, just do it seriously, because I can't. If I can meet anybody out there that isn't on the SJW side that can actually read this seriously, then kudos to you, because, yeah, no. I can't. I can't. Okay, let's see what we've got here. I've got to update this, so we're going to update this live, because I forgot to do this before the show started, because I'm a one-woman show. Alright, now we gotta do this. Alright, there we go. That should be a little bit better. Move this down. And do this. Zip. And there we go. And hopefully that is an updated enough list of our live streams today. Director Arcater, I intended to dramatically read tonight, but I sound like I have been huffing steel wool. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Arcater. I hope you feel better soon. Jason, I'm sure there's a story out there about Adam West watching his co-star have sex in front of him. Could be. Traname, I love the dramatic reading. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think tomorrow I'll either find another cancer. Okay, I'm going to leave this up to my wonderful chat. Do you want me to do another dramatic reading of a cancer article tomorrow for Friday, or do you want me to find some funny memes to read? It's all up to you. And also, tomorrow I am looking for 2 guests to be on the show with me, so we can have a conversation about the news that I find and the breaking news on the internet. So if any one of you in the live chat would like to be one of my guests for tomorrow, let me know. This stream was gayer than most of mine. Loved it. Dramatic reading. More dramatic reading and memes. Why not both? I mean, you know, with Reverend Falwell in there, you had to put the oration in there because, you know, baptism and Christianity and things of that nature. You can't just read something, you know, pick me, pick me, pick me. Okay, Lenuggets and Pagan Butterfly Kitten, if you guys can be in my Discord at around 10:15, so we can do, 10 o'clock, so we can do the sound checks. I can do that. You know, I'll have both of you. I would love to have both of you on my show tomorrow morning. So Pagan Butterfly Kitten and Lenuggets, if you can be in the Discord at 10 o'clock in the morning, I would absolutely love you for it, so I can do the sound checks and we won't be making people's ears bleed like I did on accident yesterday. And I'm still very sorry about that. Alright, so, for those of you that don't have it, there is the link to my Discord. Now, until you get promoted, please type in the screening room. Now, let me see here. The name of the category is Newly Invited. Type in the screening room that you have popped into my Discord, and I will promote you to a coffee nut so you can jump in voice chat. Yep, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So you can jump in voice chats and participate with everybody, and we can get all the kinks worked out. I would love to see you there, because I'm getting ready to head to the coffee club after this show is over with and before my noon shift starts. So, as always, may your coffee ever flow, may your caffeine be ever strong, and may you have a thoroughly terrific Thursday. Take care, my coffee nuts.